Hello, everyone. Welcome to In the Neighborhood with your hosts, Tim Johnson and Stacy Borho. Together, they are finding out what makes the heart of the Heartland beat. They sit down with people in your community that lead organizations, businesses, and government. You'll learn who they are and what they're involved in and why. They are the people in your neighborhood. It's In the Neighborhood with Stacy Borho and Tim Johnson.
Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Stacy. How are you?
Good morning. Great. How are you?
Good. A little bit of flying all over the place, and
Yeah, it was a busy weekend.
Understand. Sometimes those vacations aren't much of a vacation, are they? Today we have our good friend Chuck Weaver.
Hello,
welcome.
good to be here. Thank you.
And you brought a guest with us.
I
Why
did.
don't you introduce her.
Yeah, guest and friend, Chama St Louis. I've got the name right. It used to be Chama, and you said, Chuck, it's not Chama.
It's not.
We're good friends. Correct you when you say things wrong, right? Chama
right.
St Louis.
That's
Welcome.
right.
And
Thank you.
Peoria. Were you a native of Peoria?
I've lived here for 23 years, since I was 10 years old. Now everyone knows my age.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah.
And we're working together on a project, and we can talk more about that. But maybe, Chama, you can give a little background on what got you here and what you do generally.
Yeah, I'm a community organizer for the Grassroots Collaborative here in Peoria. It's called the Peoria People's Project. And when Chuck said that he wanted to do this program, I was thrilled to be a part of it because I really love community and I love doing work for the community. And this fit right into the work that I do.
So what is it that you do?
So basically, I organize communities around issues that affect them. So, and then we try to work towards solutions for those issues. So we're community and labor-based, the teachers, and SEIU healthcare. And what we do is inform the community about issues that are going on. So whether it's something that directly affects home care workers, something that directly affects teachers, or something that directly affects citizens. And so we try to mobilize them to call their legislators or take some form of action to either prevent something from happening or encourage something to happen.
Can you give us an example? Sorry.
Sure, I can give you an example. One of the things that we have been working on is generating more revenue for Peoria Public Schools.
Okay.
And so, and we feel like that's an issue that affects everyone, right? Like good schools improve the community. Students are getting a better education. Teachers are getting better pay, so they're happy. One of the things that we did was a rally, and it was a rally to save our public schools. And basically what that did was inform the community about the issues that are going on within the school district, and to kind of get people to thinking around, okay, what can I be doing or what can I join to help bring awareness to this situation so that when we're out here asking for more revenue, then we've mobilized the base.
Okay. So when you say rally, just to kind of explain that term and how you go about.
Yeah, so basically with a rally, it's mainly something that can draw media attention and kind of get the public aware. So we had signs and we said, you know, we love our teachers and we support students and different things like that. We had Beth Kreider-Dairy speak at the rally as well. And we also had a local pastor come and speak. We had parents of students who are in the school district speak about the importance of funding education as well.
And so were there students there then too?
Yes, there were students there as well from the school district as well.
So everybody that was being impacted, you
Yes.
brought out.
Yes, we tried to do that. We also had the teachers, some teachers there, and we had the union board president there who spoke as well.
That's very cool.
Yes.
So you're finding solutions, not just problems.
Right, yeah. So we're exposing the problems and then offering solutions or different ways. Like there's not necessarily any one way, but the goal is to let the community know that this problem exists and here are different routes that we can take to get to a solution. And so just trying to get the community on board with just thinking more about how to fix problems and less just complaining about an issue being there. So.
So what got you inspired to be involved?
With the 1,000 Pound Project or just in general?
Both.
Okay, so when I was younger, I probably at about the age of 14 is when I noticed disparities between like black and white communities, classism, and things like that. So at that point, that's when I knew that I really wanted to make a difference, where I really wanted I don't know, I have this grand idea of a utopia, right, where everyone can live a good quality of life and benefit in the way that I think people in society should. And so at that point, I thought the way to get there would be being a teacher, right? So I'm like, that is how you impact lives. So I went to school to be a teacher, and then halfway through, I said, I want to be a teacher. I had begun an internship with the Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce, and we were doing a lot of work with like policy and legislation and you know, just politics in general, and trying to advocate on behalf of like getting minority businesses a fair shot at success. And so I became really passionate about like fighting for the underdog, I guess. And it was at that point in my life, I think I was about 20 or 21, that I came to the conclusion, like, I want to do something that is in the circle of politics, but that can really help people. And then I kind of fell into organizing. It wasn't anything, I didn't even know that there was a real term for what it is that I was doing until I came across some people and they were like, oh, you're an organizer. And I'm like, a what? You know, like, what is that? And so I just knew when there were things that I didn't like or I felt were, you know, that were unfair, I would rally people together and be like, you know, we need to demonstrate, or we need to let them know, like, this is not right. We have to do something about it. And so I just naturally started to, you know, come aware of like what was going on in the community and what I could do to change it. And so I think initially when I started, it was just like everything that was wrong, you know what I mean? And then as I grew and I matured, it was, okay, yes, there's a lot of things that are wrong, but now I want to do things that are solution-based as well. So pointing out what's wrong and then also having a solution. And I think this 1,000 Pound Project is so unique because not only does it use different leaders in the community from different races, but it forces us to branch outside of our boxes and engage with other people who have that same love and passion for community issues, right? And so, and then it challenges us to also take members of our team and make sure it's, you know, it's full of diversity as well. So, and just working together on a solution-based issue, like identifying a problem and working together on a solution-based issue, in my opinion, I feel like that provides access and opportunity to young people and people in general in the city. And so I was like, it just makes sense. You know, it's everything that I want to do. It's all of the work that I do in Peoria, and it's put into a project for me to work on with a team of diverse individuals. So
awesome. So tell us.
It's nice to be here.
Great spokesperson. So define for us what 1,000 Pounds is.
So last November I had Developing Tomorrow's Leaders. I don't know if you folks remember that happening, but it was down at the Cat Visitor Center. We're going to do that again this year. But I got done with it, and I started calling, you know, some folks I respected, say, you know, what did we do right, what did we do wrong? And Will Ball from CAT, I don't know if you guys know Will, good thinker and just a great guy. He said, you know, what we're missing, that was great. I mean, we were hoping for 40 to 60 people. We had 200 people there. It was a great event, and the energy was really good. My speakers, I felt, were good. And he said, well, you know, it's clear that people want to learn more about leadership. The question is, you know, learning about it and doing it are two different things, and you need a capstone project. So, you know, I really started hearing the word synergy about probably 25 years ago. And well, how can you do one thing that accomplishes a lot of things? And so this project, I think, does that. So what I was after first was a project that allowed leaders to go out. You know, sometimes you're leading in a financial world and you do it wrong, you lose your money. Well, this is something where they can experiment with leadership in a place that does not have a chance of impacting financially. No downside if they don't lead well. They learn from that as well. But first thing is lead a project in our community. Second thing is my goal is 5 teams, each with a different ethnic background. So the leader had to be Hispanic, African American, white, Middle Eastern, or Asian. Now, I end up with 4 teams. I have, and I'm saying this out loud because I want people to hear it and understand it. I had 2 different Hispanic leaders that could not stay with me, and they were very difficult to find in the first place. And our Hispanic community, we need to learn better how are we going to reach into that community, pull them out, and help them work on projects like this, because that's, I think, a void right now. Great people, but we got to figure out how to get them more engaged. And then each leader, I went into the community, I found a mentor for them of 5 different ethnic backgrounds.
Wow.
And I went to the highest level of knowledge or intelligence that was willing to pick up my phone when I called them to ask them to do this. I mean, these mentors are, Chama has Guha, Sashidra Guha. I think he's one of the smartest guys in town, right? And you've been pleased.
I would agree.
So, but the other 4, just that John Whelan, Tim Vega, Bill Kwan, who just got his master's from Harvard Business School, and just drew, Jackie Petty is the 5th one. Connected them across ethnic backgrounds, right? Not the same ethnic background. And then each team leader had 2 jobs, pick a project and pick their team. And my only direction was project needs to be effective and sustainable, and the team needs to be diverse. And we had applications where people could apply. And now I meet with them twice a month to help them process where they're going. They meet with their mentor 2 hours a month. They meet with their mentor once a month, and then they meet with their teams as they want.
Once a month, yeah.
That was a long explanation. I'm sorry.
No.
Say the name of it again.
1,000 Pounds Project.
Okay.
So, about, you guys have heard me talk about this group of guys I get with once a month, and we do a retreat once a year. And one year we hired a guy, paid him a bunch of money to come in, and he asked us one question: how do you use your skills and resources to impact the greatest need in your community? And then basically sat there and listened. I mean, it turned into this, 2-day retreat on us thinking about, first, what are our skills, what are our resources, second, what's needed in the community. And so that's the starting point for this project. And then the way I want people thinking about it is, as leaders, we want to put 1,000 pounds of pressure on something to get 1,000,000 pounds of results.
Okay.
So it's about delegating, it's about how do you get synergy, how is Chama going to do something that gets this group of people doing something that impacts the community, get 1,000,000 pounds of results. So that's the background on it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really, what's the biggest impact that you've seen so far?
Well, right now, since we are kind of in the planning and meeting stages with each other as the leaders of the team, and then trying to mobilize our teams that we've selected, and we haven't branched out to the community work portion of it yet. But for me, it's just amazing to know that these people existed in my community, and I had no idea. So it's just being able to meet these individuals and pick their brains and see that they have the same passion that I have, and they have a completely different background, than what I have. And so I think that for me has been the most impactful so far, is building and networking. And then my mentor, Guha, is amazing. He is super thoughtful. He asks all the right questions to get my mind, my wheels turning, and then I'm leaving his office okay, how am I going to, make this happen? How am I going to come back to him with the answers to these questions? And he's super available. We meet once a month, but he's always saying, call me, text me, email me all throughout the month. Don't let it be just a 1-month thing. So.
I want to know how we get to more of the teenagers to have a passion like she has, to make a difference in their own community. I would love to have that investment from our youth. Mm-hmm. I'm just curious as to how you do that.
I was thinking about that this morning, interestingly, because when the Parkland shooting happened, our teenagers got very engaged. Mm-hmm. And I was asked to come in and speak to Perry Public Schools. And what I said I would like to do is, instead of having it, there's a lot of activity going on, but I wanted to really challenge a handful of leaders on, what are you really going to do with this activity? And so Cheryl Gavin, her daughter, Anna, I think was her name, pretty sure it's Anna, worked at Richwoods to get a group in a room with me. And my challenge to them was, I'm going to segue for a second because of this issue. The 60s was about peace and love and drugs and rock and roll. How did that work out for us, right? And not bad that people had a passion. That's great, and I'm sure it helped mold us some, but in the end, there's a lot of those things that didn't get us where we need to be. And so my challenge to these kids was, okay, are you passionate about this gun issue because it's the issue or because it's the right issue for you? And I want to meet with you guys and help you process. Okay, now you've understood what it's like to get engaged. Now how do you figure out what the right thing to be engaged is? So when the next generation hits, you say, well, we kind of missed it on peace and love and drugs and rock and roll, right? So the reason I was thinking about this morning is we met, and I offered for them to meet again, and I haven't heard from them. That's what struck me. And so as you're speaking, I think what we need to do is, the kids are there, the kids are willing, but they're still young. And they need some hand-holding. So it might be something where I'm going to follow up with Anna's mother and just say, I probably need a parent to still help making sure it's once a month and getting that coordinated.
Sure.
So I mentor quite a bit. And the key is let people know you're willing to do it, and then get a structure on how you do it. So I love what you just said about how do we get teenagers to do this. I think any one of the four of us could have a group of teenagers meet with once a month, and that's 6 kids, 24 kids, and they're the sharpest kids. That matters when you want to start.
And I think, too, drawing parallels between the things that they're interested in and then the things that seem boring, right? Like if you can make the things that are important in the community seem engaging and interesting and fun, then I think you can capture. So I think it's a matter of sitting down maybe with a group of people who have a passion for engaging the youth and figuring out, like having a brainstorming session and figuring out, like, how can we present this issue to our teenagers in a way to where they're going to grasp onto it. I just don't think we're spending enough time as a community focusing in on, what they need in order to be engaged.
Sure.
I think people need to also be able to say, I want to do something, but can I really make a difference? And I think for a lot of younger people, it's like, I don't think I can make a difference. They see somebody like you stepping up to the plate. I think that gives them that goal, that vision to be able to do that. So,
or a hope.
Kudos to you.
Right.
Thank you. Yeah, a hope
Yeah, I
too.
hope so,
I mean, that's what the kids need is a dream, and or just that mustard seed, right? Just deposit it into them to let them know, because even if you make one impact. I mean, even adults don't realize that. They're like, well, why should I do that? I mean, it's only going to help one person. But that one person, it's the domino effect that can really impact, and we don't think about that all the time. So
My son Travis just had a boy that he had through Boys and Girls Club. And he said, it didn't turn out quite like I thought it would. And I didn't say this to him because the conversation changed, but I thought, you have no idea how it turned out.
that's right.
I had a young man that, when I ran for city council, walked up to me, and he hugged me. He said, I'm married, African-American guy, married, I have 3 children, and you said something to me when you had us out to the farm swimming. I started a little youth group thing when I was a freshman in college, and it made me think. 30 years later, this one guy said his family was impacted by what that message was that night. We can all do it, and you don't know, and you may never hear, I wouldn't have heard of that guy if it wasn't for the city council thing, but they're out there, and we make a difference when we trust people.
We have a clock that's counting down, but we're going to continue on if that's okay with you, just a little bit, just because the conversation is so good and we're on a great topic. Where do we go from where we are right now with what you're doing with 1,000 Pounds?
This will get announced at the Developing Tomorrow's Leader program this year is when we'll actually do the announcement. They'll be at that time ready to share, here's what their project's going to be.
Okay.
And we're going to do they're going to do a little presentation, they're going to do a media event at that time. And my goal is that this is an amazing experience. Chama's got a lot of experiences, but just for these younger leaders to say, wow, I learned a lot and I got to do some cool stuff. So.
Awesome. Is there anything else you want to cover before we wrap this up?
Thoughts?
No, I think I covered it all. I'm really excited about the project and seeing where we can take it. So,
How can people get involved?
So website is 1,000 pounds, 100 # project, and there's applications for for getting on a team, and there's applications for project ideas, and people are welcome to do that. And I want to tell you guys, this value you bring to the community is huge. What you're doing, because it's all about helping people think, and you're doing that. So thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
thank you.
Appreciate your time. Thank you. Senator Chuck Weaver and Chama St. Louis.
Yes,
Very nice to have you. Thank you very much.
thank you.
Thank you.
PeoriaLife.com